Well, a very good afternoon and welcome back to Falun for the final day of the season. And we have just 15 kilometres still to cover in the men's tour. And this is the final stage of the mini tour held here in Falun. We had sprints 2 days ago. Yesterday was the 15-kilometre mass start. Today, it's all about a pursuit and the start order determined by the results of the previous 2 days. So, Alexander Bolshinov, who got his first ever World Cup win yesterday, he will be setting off first. He's got a decent lead, 38 seconds to play with, almost exactly the same as Marit Björgen had this morning. He's got Klæbo behind him, Halvarsson of Sweden in 3, Pellegrino of Italy 4, De Fabiani also from Italy in 5, and then the big endurance guns like Sundby going 7, Dario Colonia going 9. Those two are having a great battle for World Cup positions, and whichever of those finishes first today will finish in second place in the World Cup. I cannot see any scenario where Klæbo does not secure the overall globe today. He's 249 points clear. You can win 250 points today if you win the day and you produce the fastest time on the course. Not going to achieve, he's not going to manage that. I think he might just enjoy the occasion. Don't think we're going to see him race too hard, but it would be nice to see him to try and track down Bolshinov. But too hard, but it would be nice to see him to try and track down Bolshinov. But maybe he realizes that it's Bolshinov who's on form at the moment and not him. Well, a stunning venue, a look at what this part of Sweden is like in the summer months. Pretty much party time. It's been a great winter as well, and better snow conditions than we've had for many, many years. Long line provided, a guard of honour almost provided for the athletes making their way from the warm-up enclosure to the start gate here. And in the first 1 minute 20, we'll have 22 starters, and those men at the back of the field today are 7 minutes 26 behind. James Clugnet of Britain, unfortunately, last across the line yesterday, quite a margin off. Now, I think, although my start sheet is suggesting otherwise, I think they'll all go off in a wave at around 4 minutes. We'll see as we flick through the start order.
All right, Kalle, great race from you in the 15 Classic. I know the home crowd was really pulling for you. Looking now at the 15K pursuit, free technique, you're going to feed off that energy of the home crowd again?
Yeah, I hope so. Hope it will be the same for tomorrow. So I hope I will have the same energy for tomorrow.
And yeah, we were talking before we started here. You've had some podiums this year, always third place, second place in the 15 Classic. You feel like you're coming up at the end of the season here?
Yeah, it's a little bit too late now, but I hope I can get a good shape for tomorrow. So yeah, it feels really good today.
Well, good luck in the final race of the World Cup season.
Thank you very much.
Halvarsson starting third today, 39 seconds down off Bolshinov. He's got Klæbo to work with, and Pellegrino and De Fabiani just around him as well. Welcome back to Falun. Just a couple of minutes, 3 or 4 minutes to go before the start of the final race of the season, the climax. Not quite as tight as the women's. What a situation we had this morning. Weng leading the World Cup by 107 points. Usberg in second. Diggins 105, 106 points behind Usberg. And there was a scenario that would have allowed Diggins to go from third to first. As it happened, she finished only 40 points adrift of the crystal globe. What a day that would have been for American skiing had she managed to do that. But I think she's going to go into this summer full of confidence, and I don't have much doubt that her aim next year is going to be the crystal globe winner. She's unlikely to have Marit Björgen to contend with all season, so her biggest rival may actually end up being one Therese Johaug, who's been banned for the last couple of years. I don't know how you feel about that incident. I think she was fairly harshly treated myself, but anyway, she got the 2-year ban, mostly imposed by Norwegian Federation, actually, feeling that they had to be seen to punish the error. And she will be back next year. She could be racing, she could have raced the last week or so, but she decided not to let the season go by, prepare over the summer months and come back with a bang next year. So looking forward to seeing Johaug back on the tracks, and I think Johaug Diggins could be the jewel that we enjoy throughout next season. Andy Musgrave starting 34 today, 1 minute 48 behind, not the best of days. He was right up there at 12.7 yesterday and then got blown away over the last couple of kilometres. Halvorsen, who was leading into the stadium, did great work in the closing stages, so nearly got his first World Cup win of the year, but was denied by one Bolshinov of Russia. Andrew Young in the race as well. He wasn't too far off the pace yesterday, and the wave going off at 3:20, not at 4 minutes as I suggested it might be, but at 3:20 there'll be a big wave of athletes who were further behind than that yesterday. They're unlikely to play any part in the chase for World Cup points today. This man will, though. Alexander Bolshinov, 21, the new star of Russian cross-country skiing, and he's got the better of the old star Martin Jonsrud-Sundby on numerous occasions this year. Sundby still doing pretty well. He's lying third in the standings. He's only 2 points behind second place. So if Sundby beats Colonia today, he will go into second place, and it will be a 1-2 for Norway. Dario Colonia, 249 points behind. So if Colonia produces the fastest time and wins the mini tour, and Klæbo fails to finish, then the title, the Crystal Globe, will be going back to Switzerland and not to Norway. But that is highly, highly unlikely. It's 15 kilometers in the freestyle. It's a very tough course here. Twice round the red loop and twice round the blue. They're both 3.75 kilometers long. They both involve some pretty brutal climbs. And the best thing about it for some is that the sun is out. Beautiful, beautiful conditions. Many feel that you should start the season a month later and race through to mid-April. Nothing quite like getting rid of all the thermal underwear, hats off, headbands off. A certain sense of freedom when it's like this. So, very little time before Bolshinov starts. He's under starters' orders. It will be Bolshinov, Klæbo, Halvorsen, Pellegrino, De Fabiani, the first 5 away. And the final race of the season is finally on the go, and Bolshinov sets off, and you can see from his body language that he means business today. He's got 38 seconds to play with. He's not scared of leading any race, so I don't think he'll be worried about going out first. My only concern would be he put in a phenomenal effort in the sprint race on the first day. He worked desperately hard yesterday. Will fatigue get the better of him in the latter stages of the race? This man, on the other hand, had a little bit of a cruise yesterday, having won the sprint on the first day, and that's really why he finds himself starting in second. And a bonus for Klæbo is he's got Halvorsen for company, and Halvorsen will be trying to perform in front of his own fans. Away goes to Fabiani, number 8 now. May be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure that Pellegrino did not take his place on the start line. On the far side, Sundby is underway. Hackler, Dario Colonia, starting with bib number 9, is away. 12 is Belov of Russia. On the far side, you can see his teammate Shavotkin. Next to go will be Niklas Dierhaug of Norway, comes from Tidal, and that's a good start from him. 14 Syrota, the Norwegians are right up there. Poltorani goes for Kazakhstan, Niskanen for Finland, and Niskanen chasing down Hackler, who's the best placed Finn at the moment. And already, as you can see, the clock at 1:27, 1:28, getting closer and closer to Musgrave's start. 30 is Salvadori. Andrew Musgrave starting 34, just heading out of the start gate now as we focus on Bolshinov. And the fact that we have a train means we have a tactical race. Halvorsen has decided to stick it steady. He is not in any way trying to chase down Bolshinov. Do they feel that Bolshinov's 38 seconds is too much? to make a shot at. Well, I'm very surprised with that. Sundby started, what, 15 seconds behind Klæbo and Halvorsen, and he's already on the back of that group wearing 7. The tall figure wearing 6 is Oskar Svensson. He's an absolute monster. I think to get in the Swedish team, you have to be over 6'3" to get a chance. But it'd be interesting to see what Svensson does. He's a member of the local club here in Falun, so he knows these tracks better than most of the men out there. He's, as you can see from his appearance, he's a young man. He's in the under-23 category, and Sweden very, very excited about his prospects. What do we got? 8 men in that group, containing 3 major champions. Klæbo for one from this year, Sundby, and of course Dario Colonia. 2 of them have won the overall World Cup multiple times. One of them is about to get the overall World Cup for the first time, and it's Sundby who makes a mockery of the pace set by Halvorsen. Now Halvorsen's going to have to start doing some work, but already the lead for Bolsjunov will have grown from 38 seconds. We'll get a readout very shortly. Should get one at around 1.85 kilometers, 1.8 kilometers. Not quite at that stage yet. We'll get another one at 3.75. No bonus seconds, of course, on this final chasing start, the pursuit start, as they call it. Number 8, Risto-Matti Hakola of Finland has joined the chasing group. Now, if these guys all work together and share the lead, then they could do some damage to Bolsjunov. But if they let Sundby lead for the majority, then that is not going to happen. And maybe with Halvorsen's steady pace, and Klæbo wasn't really prepared to take it on, already Bolsjunov has got this one in the bag. It would be a shame if that was the case. Colonia is just going to track Sundby all the way to the line. Second place in the overall World Cup standings at stake between those two. Yesterday, Sundby had a lead of 2 points over Colonia. Today, Colonia has a lead of 2 points over Sundby. Very, very small margins between those two. So Bolsjunov goes through 1.8, and my prediction is that he's got a 45, 46 second lead, maybe even more than that. We'll see. And at the speed he goes, that's a decent distance. He's out of sight. Sundby ahead of Colonia. De Fabiani, I'm looking for bib number 4. Can you spot it? It is there. It is there. I missed Pellegrino coming off the start line. I thought that would have been unlike him to pull out, but I blinked and I missed him. He was too quick away. De Fabiani is there. He's wearing number 5, tucked in behind Colonia in the black suit. 3 is Halvorsen, who's now had to raise his game. Svensson is there, Klæbo is there, and Hakola of Finland is there. And here comes the second chasing group being led by Yevgeny Belov. Welcome back to Falun, and no addition to the chasing group as yet. Hakola of Finland just struggling to hang on. 26 now, Hakola, so pretty much coming to his prime. He'll be 27 early next month. And fascinating that the age ranges of the top athletes now is so huge. You know all about Klæbo and Bolsjunov, both of whom are 21, and Bolsjunov's not going to be 22 until New Year's Eve this year. So he's a couple of months younger than Klæbo. If we look at Dario Colonia, well, he was born in 1986, so what does that make him? 31. Sundby, born in 1984, so what's he at? 33, so it's you know, quite a range. And as Uliana Bjorndalen has demonstrated from the biathlon world, you can keep going to your 40s, but I think in biathlon, where you have the shooting a factor, it's possible to keep going and making an impression a little bit longer. So as they come into the stadium, they will have spotted exactly where Bolshinov was. Make a mark of that. Just after the Helvetia banner, they pass Bolshinov. Next time round, they will be hoping that they are a little bit closer to the Russian, but Bolshinov will already know that he's extended his lead over the rest of the field. A bit of work coming in from Dario Colonia. He'd love to finish his season with a win. Halverson is obviously feeling good. He's tucked in there, looking very comfortable. He's a tall, thin fellow. I should think his body fat's at something like 6.5%. There is not a lot to him, but what there is pretty useful. Big set of lungs, huge heart. Sumbi in third in this group. Just needs to stay a little bit closer to get the full effect of the slipstream. And here come the second group. Hackler now has been separated from that group. He's going to get swallowed up by, what have we got in there, 12, 13 skiers. News as far as the British athletes are concerned. I've just seen Andy Musgrave. He went through 1.8, 134 behind. He started 148 down, so 14 seconds gained in that first 1.8 kilometers. He's going for it, and he's trying to get onto the tail of one Simon Kruger, who you may remember is the skiathlon Olympic champion. Kruger had a fantastic games, made a big name for himself, and he'll no doubt be one of the stars. Kruger wearing bib number 31. Hasn't quite made contact with that group that's gone through, but he should be in this next group. He's in the Norwegian colours. He's third in this next group. Number 24, that's Bezmertnik from Russia. And 30, as we've seen before, Salvadori from Italy. Is Musgrave there? Of course he is. Number 34. Yeah, he'd love to finish the season with... Well, he's going to get World Cup points, I'm pretty sure of that. And Musgrave, impressive last year, just off the front sheet of the World Cup standings. Down in 23rd position at the start of today. Musgrave just outside the top 20, so hopefully he can pull himself up into the top 20 by the end of today's race. Everything will have to go his way. De Fabiani likes these tracks here in Falun. He generally produces good results. Raced here in January last year. I was slightly surprised to see we haven't had the World Cup finals here since 2014. And on that occasion, the man who topped the World Cup standings was one Martin Jonsrud Sundby, who's still a main player here today. And Sundby actually winning the mini tour that year ahead of Harvey. Legkov was 3, Danny Rickardson 4, Villigzanin of Russia 5, and Marcus Hellner of Sweden was 6. Bolshinov, well, he was about 15 then. No, he wasn't. He was 17 actually, and he was already a very, very good skier. But this is his first season on the World Cup tour, and he's going to have a very impressive finish indeed. He could well go into the top 3 today, but that depends on Colonia and Sundby both having a bad day out. Through 3.75, Bolshinov 49 seconds ahead. Through 1.8, incidentally, as you will have seen, 44 the margin. So Bolshinov still travelling quicker than anyone else. So that could be worth 50 points to him. And he started today in 5th, as I said. He's only 31 points down on Alex Harvey, who's 4th in the World Cup standings. And Bolshinov is a long way adrift. He's over 200 points behind Martin Jonsrud Sundby, so I think it's highly unlikely he's going to be able to switch places with the Norwegian, especially as Sundby's sitting in 4th at the moment. 200 points for a win in the mini tour. You basically double the amount of points that you would have got in a normal World Cup race. And then, of course, they take the individual times for each athlete, and the fastest man on the course today will win himself 50 And that effectively is the World Cup points that are usually awarded cut in half. So a maximum of 250 points can be gained in today's race. And the way things are going, Bolshinov could claim the whole lot. So he started yesterday without ever having had a World Cup win. He could make it 3 by the end of today. Beautiful course here in Falun, so well designed, just the right amount of steep climb, some beautiful technical downhills where those who are better balanced on the ski can gain fractions of a second. But the corners are tight, as you can see, and you have to work to maintain the pace. Here comes Alex Harvey. He's done great work and he's getting closer and closer to that leading group. Harvey, the last time we saw, was 1 minute 10 behind and he started 1:16. So he is the only man out there, I think, who is traveling faster than Alexander Bolshinov, the race leader. But Bolshinov, when he comes through the stadium on his next visit, is going to realise that he's pulling away from the group that are following him, because Halvorsen is back in front with that group. We'll see if he's still there next time we pick them up. But Halvorsen has been going to the front, slowing the pace down. I think he feels his best chance is to keep the pace steady and then use all his reserves over the last 2-3 kilometres. Well, here he is, and you can see that the work rate is not particularly high. Cologna's done a bit at the front, happy to sit in there. The slower the pace is, the happier the man at the back in yellow will be. And Alex Harvey has closed the gap on this group without any trouble at all. Harvey started 1:16, so he started some 42 seconds behind Johannes Klæbo. And I think Harvey's going to keep that pace going. He's not interested in letting these guys have an easy ride, because look how many men are behind them. Well, it's going to set up a fantastic finale, but this race is being handed to one Alexander Bolshinov on a plate. He doesn't mind. He just doesn't mind. I think he'll be almost out of the stadium, past the Helvetia banner, before the others drop down into the stadium. The hat's off for Halvorsen. Looking very comfortable is Freddie Pellegrino. He won't mind a slow pace, one of the best sprinters in the world. The only man other than Klæbo to have more than one sprint win this season. The last of those coming in Lahti, where he won the World Championships last year. So he really does know how to race there in Lahti. And actually, the rapid entrance into the stadium suits him better than most other athletes. Well, look at that. Bolshinov is away. He's gained, what, 30, 40 metres over the last 3.75 kilometres. It is all going his way at the moment. 17:40 on the clock. And they've just gone through the... Well, Bolshinov's gone through the 7.5, the halfway marker. There's Yevgeny Belov. He's comfortable at the back. Slight move from Johannes Klæbo. Just moves up into his 5th or 6th in that chase group at the moment. I think he was well aware of the men joining the chase group from behind. And now he starts to make a decisive move. He'll want to just track the leader. I don't think we'll see him doing too much work, but he doesn't want to get caught at the back of this group. And there's been a slight injection of pace. Halvorsen maybe realising that it's a mug's game to allow another 20 skiers to join this chase. 17:30 on the clock. Halvorsen at 1:09, Klæbo at 1:09 as well. The margin's getting bigger and bigger, and already Bolshinov has taken 30 seconds out of everyone else. Or he's extended his lead by 30 seconds. That would be a more accurate way of putting it. 26 looking comfortable is Danny Rickardson. He's taking all the wind, and he takes a lot of wind with those shoulders. Well, this is like a training session for Bolshinov. And the joy of doing a 180-degree turn and realising that the rest of the field are nowhere to be seen. Now, Klæbo and Halvorsen. It's not just a slow pace, this is slower than the Sunday stroll. Klæbo is delighted with this. He's by far and away... no, I have to correct that because Pellegrino's still in there, isn't he? There he is, number 4. Pellegrino and Klæbo, the two fastest sprinters. But I think at the end of a race of this length, Klæbo is still the man that can turn the pace quicker than anyone else. And his sprint performance just 2 days ago was devastating. Interesting how he used different tactics in each round, and he went very, very early in the final. The final kilometre and a half of... Well, the final kilometre of this course, identical to the last kilometre of the sprint course. They join it just before the first steep climb. Halvorsen, he's going to come to a stop if he goes any slower. Sometimes happens in the final race of the season. And it's going to take a catastrophe to stop Bolshinov winning here today. And the reason I say he goes from 1 win to 3 is because the way things are going, he is going to produce the fastest time. Harvey, I think, the only man who can really threaten him, although Danny Rickardson has now got himself on the back of this group. Rickardson started number 26 and he was 1:24 behind. He's now at 1:22, but the pace this group are going, they're way slower than Bolshinov. So I think Harvey, who had the quickest time up to 7.5, is suddenly going to find he's losing out to Bolshinov. So this man could be hauling in 250 World Cup points today. Started the day on 938, so that takes him on to 1,188, and that will put him ahead of Sundby, assuming Sundby doesn't pick up more than 40 points. And I guess there's a chance that that might not happen, because if Sundby gets out sprinted by everyone in this group, he's not going to get those 40 points. So there is still a chance that Bolshinov could go into 3rd in the World Cup standings. And if the same happened to Cologne, he could go from 5th to 2nd on the final race of the season. Well, it's not quite as tight as it was in the women's event. Heidi Weng clinging on to her yellow bib and the crystal globe. Jessie Diggins, performance of the day for the United States in the women's race this morning. Bolshinov so far, the performance of the day in the men's, although it's not going to be the most entertaining run. Harvey and Svensson, the two men at the front. Harvey, of course, from Canada. He will have enjoyed the last 2 seasons with the tours finishing over on home snow. I thought it was fantastic, and particularly when we raced in Quebec City, a course right in the middle of the city in one of the parks, thousands upon thousands of spectators. Different atmosphere to here, certainly, but I was really impressed, and the snow conditions were fantastic. So I don't think it will be too long before we head back there for the World Cup finals. A lot of travelling already this year, with the Olympics being in South Korea. A long, lonely ski for Alexander Bolshinov. The clock running, and they're not going to catch him now. They've got just over 5 kilometres to go. They've given away 1 minute and a quarter already. Harvey leading. Just watch the names flick through. Reuter's made an appearance as they go through the 9.3 kilometre stage. Tunseth started 19, he's up into 11. Salvadori started 30, he's got himself into the top 20 as well. Well, welcome back to Falun. It gets slower and slower and slower, and the distance between the chasers and the leaders gets bigger and bigger and bigger. This is an extraordinary race, so it's really all about finishing in second place. And your money would have to be on Johannes Husfeldt-Klæbo if it stays like this. But someone in that group, a Harvey or a Sundby, or perhaps even number 13, Maxim Vilikjanin, is going to have to push the accelerator fairly early. Our next checkpoint's going to be at 11.25, just while we've got a breather in proceedings. I can tell you that Musgrave got to within 144 of the race leaders. He's now dropped back to 209, so I think those first 3 kilometres, perhaps the first loop of 3.75, perhaps a little bit quick for Andy Musgrave, and he's now starting to pay the price. He's the first athlete off the back of this leading group. We've actually got 2 Frenchmen skiing together in between the group and Musgrave. Maurice Magnificat, who has taken Musgrave to many good results in that Musgrave and him, they seem to ski well together, but it's usually Musgrave feeding off the strength of Magnificat. But at the moment they're out of touch. They're 2 minutes behind Bolshinov. They're about 20 seconds behind this group of skiers. Bolshinov, he's loving it. He's loving every single second of it. And each time he comes through the stadium, he finds his lead is extended. He's on his way back out. One lap to go. 3 completed already. I'm just looking for number 31, Simon Hegstedt Kruger, the skiathlon world Olympic champion. There he is. He just joins the picture at the back. He's had a fantastic race, has Kruger. He started 140 off the lead. I'll try and get you the positions as they come through. We've got quite a few DNSs that we weren't informed about earlier on. Ivo Niskanen, the Olympic 50-kilometre champion, didn't start. Alexei Poltaranin, who has had a fantastic end to his season. He's had lots of success, particularly in the classic races. He didn't start. Eriksson of Sweden, Engdahl of Sweden didn't finish. Now, the men who are in this group, we have some 24 in this group alone. Kruger has got it to 1:27 behind the race leader, so he may well be the fastest starter out there. He's 13 seconds quicker than Bolshinov, who leads the way. But he's worked hard. Now he needs to just work his way through this group slowly, but he's got to hope that the pace doesn't pick up quite yet. But we're now into the last 3 kilometres, and it's going to go ballistic sometime soon. All the endurance athletes will want to keep Johannes Husfeldt-Klæbo honest, and they'll want to get rid of Pellegrino as well, but it is not going to be easy. As soon as Klæbo gets within 2 Ks of the finish, I think he will sense that second place is his for the taking. He's obviously in the yellow bib. Leading the way is still Halvorsen, and he's done too much leading. I know it's been slow, but he's still doing 1 or 1.5% more work than Sundby, who's been tucked in behind him for almost the entire race so far. And Dario Colonia has kept not just kept his eye on Sundby, he's kept within arm's reach of Sundby just to make sure that the Norwegian doesn't spring a surprise on him. Those two likely to change place in the World Cup standings today. Where will they go? They'll choose a big hill. Someone will choose the big hill to suddenly accelerate. On the right-hand side, looks as though we've got a little injection of speed from Hans-Christer Holund. Holund, of course, medalled in the skiathlon out in Pyeongchang. What a race that was. Kruger ahead of Sundby, ahead of Holund. A Norwegian 1-2-3 on that occasion. And suddenly we see Halvorsen put more power down through the skis, and he accelerates just to hold on to that top spot. And now we're getting towards the business end. 30 at the back's had a good day. That's Salvadori. But now he's got to hang on in there. Kruger suddenly finds he's paying the price for not getting a little further up through the order. Somehow he's got to find a way through if he wants to finish in the top 3 today. Bolshinov, he's gone into Sunday cruise mode. The 200 points are his. The prize money is his. Too far off the lead of Klæbo in the overall World Cup standings to take that, but he'll be a contender next year. There's no doubt about that. At 22, he'll be that much stronger and be able to survive the rigors of the season. How many did he miss this year? He must have missed 7 or 8 races, and that is, of course, part of the reason that he's been so good in the closing stages. His last 4 results have been 2nd, 3rd, 9th and 1st, and he's getting another 1st today. Today counts as a World Cup win if you win the mini tour, and the man who's fastest on the course, which at the moment looks as though it could be Kruger, it's Holland who's decided to go early, and this is a similar situation to the one we had in the skiathlon in the Olympic Games. Sumbi just behind him, Dario Colonia keeping an eye on Sumbi. Harvey is there as well. Harvey needs a good race to cheer him up. No sign of the yellow bib, and Johannes Usfo-Clevo has dropped off, and he's not interested. He's not going to make a spectacle of it. That's a real shame. I really thought he might come through. Clevo just needs some points, but he's got to be careful because there's a big group of men in there. Maybe he knows that with Bolshinov picking up the 200, the 2 men closest to him, Colonia and Sundby, means the most they can get is 160 points. So I think it's fair to say that Clevo doesn't actually need any points now that Bolshinov has held on to the lead. Colonia, Villigzanin, Ruta, Halvarsen, Rickardson, his teammate, just behind him. Tonseth of Norway is in there. We must have 5 Norwegians in the top 15 at the moment. Spitzoff, who was an absolute sensation out in South Korea, but he's had a tired couple of weeks post the Olympic Games. Harvey, number 18, he looks hungry. He looks really hungry. Well, amazing. And it's almost a shame that Bolshinov had such a lead at the start of today, because it would be nice to see Bolshinov in amongst this group of skiers. We've got 2 of the men who have dominated over the last decade in Colonia and Sundby, and we've got Alex Harvey, who's been so close on so many occasions. Thought Harvey might have a crack at the Holmenkollen 50 this year, didn't quite go his way. It was Dario Colonia, of course, who got his first Holmenkoll title, and that was really the last thing he needed to win. He's got plenty of Olympic golds, World Championship golds, overall World Cup wins, 4 Tour de Ski titles. Dario Colonia winning the Tour de Ski this year. What a performance that was. Came through strong in the closing stages, went to Pyeongchang and still managed to win the 15 for the 3rd time in succession. Well, here's the race leader, and let's not forget Bolshinov. This has been an outstanding performance from him. This is only his 20th World Cup, and having won yesterday, he's going to win again. He's putting on a little bit of a show, a little burst up the penultimate climb. He can relax at the top of this one. Maybe he sensed that the speed is picking up behind him, but he's safe. He's still got over a minute's lead over this group of 6 athletes, led by Hans-Christer Holland. Harvey in 2, Colonia 3, Sundby in 4th position. Number 14, that's Surota, in there as well. So 3 Norwegians in this group. A Canadian. We've got Switzerland represented by Dario Colonia. And also in there is Maxim Villigzanin, wearing bib number 13, so he's had to work hard. Holland, as you know, started 22, so I wonder what he's got left in the tank. Harvey on the right-hand side of his screen. It's Dario Colonia who gets a good burst, good clean line up the penultimate climb. Sundby trying to hang in there, and the 3 strongest men are 1, 2, 3 in this chase group. The race is over for the win, we know that, but what a burst from Dario Colonia. Harvey's lived with it. Sundby is just there, but he's got 1 more major effort still to come, as Alexander Bolshinov, just 21-year-old, comes down. Little stumble from Colonia, that's cost him a little bit of speed. Now Sundby needs to dig deep. He's got to try and get on the tails of Colonia if he wants to drag into the stadium for the final time. He's looking very tired, but so is Dario Colonia. Harvey's there as well. Harvey really is the best sprinter of these 3. But as they slow it down, number 13, Villigzanin, and Surota will feel they've got another chance, as will Holland. So that's going to be a major sprint. Be nice to see Sumbi win a sprint finish for a change. Bolshinov takes the win. Great performance by him, never under any pressure. Once it got tactical in the chase group, the victory was always going to belong to Alexander Bolshinov. After 2 days without a win, he now has 2 World Cup wins plus the Tour win, which counts as a World Cup win. So he goes from 0 to 3 in the space of 48 hours. Here we go with Alex Harvey. Colonia in second now, Sumbi in third in that group. So second, third and fourth as far as the whole race goes. Harvey's in a great position. Sumbi's got to find some sprinting speed from somewhere. Will those fast twitch muscles respond? No, they won't. Harvey far too strong in the closing stages. Dario Colonia can usually raise something over the last 50 metres, but it's not happening today. Second place and a bucket full of points goes to Alex Harvey of Canada, Colonia 3, and Martin Jonsrud Sumbi in fourth place, and that means he finishes fourth in the, it means he finishes third in the overall standings. Colonia is 2, and provided Johannes Husflet-Klæbo gets some points, we'll watch him across the line. In fact, Klæbo has got it because Bolshinov's got the 250, and Klæbo starting today 249 points clear of everybody else. And he was over 400 points clear of Bolshinov, so Bolshinov never had any chance of taking the Crystal Globe at the beginning of the day, but he's finished the season in the best possible way. Here comes the World Cup winner. Big round of applause for Klæbo. He's been the most entertaining skier this season, and nice to see Nicholas Deerhaug giving him applause as he comes across the line. I know exactly what he said in Norwegian there. He is a spent force, but no surprises whatsoever. Remember, he won the first 6 races of the season, had a little blip in Toblach where he finished 9th in the 15k, and then he came back with a bang and won the 15k classic in Toblach, the 10th race of the season. It's been an incredible display from Klæbo, but he's not on his own, because I think Bolshinov, although a very different sort of skier, is just as talented, and I think those two are going to have a magnificent fight for the title next year. Musgrave 29. And so it is finally over. The first race was on the 24th of November. We had a mini tour in Ruka, which is always good to see. Generally, we see the Norwegians on better form than anyone else. The reason for that they have to be on good form to get in the team, and it does slightly skew the first part of the season, and then it's very difficult to survive and raise your game time and time again. There are your top 3 finishers. Bolshinov in the middle, great performance from him, and then second place going to Alex Harvey of Canada. What's Harvey's performance? He's 4th in the World Cup standings. He's been overtaken by Bolshinov today, so he drops down to 5, and he's not had enough podiums. He's had a couple of podiums. This is his 1, 2, 3, 4th podium of the season, but he has been very consistent. Yeah, shame Harvey didn't come away with a gold medal from the Olympic Games. It's been a very impressive career. Has it matched what his father achieved? I think over and above what Pierre Harvey did back in the 80s. 68 with a strong finish. Nice to see from Baptiste Gros, and not often you see him racing without the hat on. And he's produced some good sprints this year. 72, Scott Patterson with a little lunge, gains himself 0.2 of a second, but that's enough to stay ahead of Caldwell, his teammate. 56 across the line, Michael Novak from the Czech Republic. Haven't seen too much from the Czechs this season. It's been a bit disappointing. Of course, the greatest Czech ever, I guess, is Lukáš Bauer. Now got his Loppet team. Caldwell 58, Bolger 59, and the timings here always a little bit complicated because remember all these men started in the wave. 3:25, 3:20 behind. Andrew Young, number 69 there on the right of your screen. Monster of a man, very strong. It's been impressive this year. He will have been disappointed with the way things went in the Olympics. I think a bit more consistency would make a big difference, but he really is up amongst the best when it comes to the sprinting. And let's hope that he can do something in Seefeld next year. Emil Jonsson. Nice long cruise to the finish for Emil. What a servant he's been to the Swedish team. And he'll enjoy this occasion for one last time. Anna Haag retiring earlier on today. Keegan Randall also leaving the women's tour. He's in no rush. What an athlete. In his prime, one of the best sprinters we've ever seen, particularly in the classic style. I will never forget his burst in Ruka when they had a sprint event, one of his first ever sprints. He was a sensation, the tempo that he could generate, and really changed classic sprinting and made it a thoroughly entertaining sport. Sweden have got plenty of young athletes who'll be taking his place, but finally the career is over. Emil Jonsson, one of the biggest smiles on the tour, and he can have as many bottles of the fizzy stuff as he likes, but he's got to be a bit careful. He probably hasn't had a drink for the last 7 years. He's a great character as well, so sad to see him go. And the Swedes, I guess, need to find a new leader in the team. Halvarsson did well today. The only disappointment today that they didn't try and chase down Bolshinov. Maybe wisely, some would say. To chase him would have put yourself at risk of losing a chance of getting in the top 3 if it hadn't gone to plan. But it was pretty obvious from the first 500 meters that Bolshinov was going to be allowed to go, take full advantage of that 38-second lead. Roman Schad of Switzerland just finishing his run, nothing to race for him, so just enjoy the 15-kilometer outing out there on the tracks. Here's our winner.
Bolshinov took the whole season to get your first win yesterday. Now, one day later, you have a second win and you've won the overall World Cup finals.
Это, если честно, этой победы, можно сказать, я ждал уже давным-давно, еще с самого начала сезона, но вторые, третьи места все не давали мне. И вот по занавес сезона все-таки удалось почувствовать это, когда ты заезжаешь, пересекаешь черту первым, и это реально круто, поэтому буду стараться еще больше работать к следующему сезону, чтобы таких моментов было как можно больше.
Hope you have a good memory.
Yeah, he was waiting really long for this victory, and now the second one in a row, an overtool, and that gives a good boost for the next season, so he will try hard to maintain first positions.
All right, well, congratulations on a great season and an excellent finish to it.
Поздравления с великолепным сезоном и великолепным окончанием сезона.
Спасибо большое. Thank you.
Спасибо. So, Bolshinov, all smiles. So it should be. He's been great this season. We've enjoyed that. Sure, tainted somewhat by the continuation of the Sochi affair. That's going to run and run and run until something is finally sorted out. But I don't think we should spoil his moment of glory today. He got
Johannes,
podiums early on in the season. Here's the overall tour winner, Johannes Husfler-Klæbo.
World Cup champion. You passed Gundes Van, who won in '83-'84, just a few years before you were born, or 10 or so.
Yeah, it's amazing, and the last couple of days has been quite tough, and I didn't feel that good today. But when you see Bolshinov go as fast as he does, it's quite cool to see, and we are both so young. So for me to be able to win the Crystal Globe, it's amazing, so I'm really happy.
Yeah, and the last days were tough, but you had such a great season, and the Globe, we said with Heidi as well, it represents an entire season from beginning to end, and you were the best. You don't have to be the best every day, but you were the best overall.
No, thank God for that. So yeah, it's been an amazing season, and yeah, to stand here with the Crystal Globe, it's unreal, and yeah, I'm just I'm going to enjoy the moment right now.
Well, good, and I hope your arms are a little bit fresh because it's a lot heavier than that sprint globe.
Okay, then I have to rest a little bit and then we'll take it.
All right, congrats, man.
Thank you very much.
So he wins the sprint globe as well, does Klæbo, and Colonia, I'm assuming, haven't done the calculations yet, assuming he gets the distance globe. That's going to be between him and Sundby. Bolsjunov, no globes for him, but you have to say he's got to be a contender for next year's Crystal Globe. And as you might have got from that interview, Klæbo is now the youngest man ever to win the Crystal Globe. He's taken that title away from the great Gunde Svan, who was absolutely astonishing. And not only is he the youngest man to win the Crystal Globe, he was the youngest man to win a gold medal at the Olympics as well. Bolsjunov threatened to take that record away from him, but it didn't quite come off in the sprint event. Well, many highlights this season. Olympic champions, well, we can't forget Kruger, who took the skiathlon. Dario Colonia, sensational, winning the 15-kilometer in Vancouver, in Sochi, and in Pyeongchang. On the 50-kilometer, how about Ivo Niskanen's performance? It was astounding, and Bolsjunov could have had that one. Had he changed his pair of skis with 1 lap to go, it could have been a different story, but he can't change that now. He might, and he should, learn for next time round. And the sprint champion, well, of course, it was Johannes Hustler Klæbo again, and he did that in some style. He also played a major part in Norway winning the 4x10 relay. And, of course, the team sprint going to Norway as well. So 3 gold medals for Klæbo at the Olympic Games this year. Harvey, he finishes in style, gets 2nd place, lots of World Cup points, but not really the titles that he's been after this year. It's a shame. And it's getting harder and harder for Sundby to win the titles as well. Everyone's career eventually comes to an end. And when you've got youngsters like Bolsjunov and Klæbo doing what they have done this year, I don't think we've never seen anyone, let alone a 21-year-old, have a start to the season like Klæbo had, and we've never seen anyone like Bolsjunov have a finish to the season like he has had. And you know, playing his cards, he missed a whole bunch of races, and it certainly paid off, because you need endurance, not insurance, probably need insurance as well, but you need endurance in bucket loads to survive a 29-race season. That's not including the relays. It's not including the selection races. It's not including the national championships. It's a punishing routine. Don't let a footballer tell you they have a hard time. This is where hard sport is, and just about every textbook, physiology textbook, will tell you that cross-country skiing is the toughest, most demanding sport in the world. And anyone who's tried it probably agrees with them. Well, these are the results from today. We'll have the overall World Cup standings in a minute, so we can just clarify the top 10 positions, but pay attention, because they'll flick through the leaderboard very quickly. There it is: Klæbo, Colonia, Sundby. Colonia, Sundby switching places today. Harvey in 4. Bolsjunov stays 5, just missing out. And with Harvey's sprint finish getting 2nd, that meant he hung on to 4th place today. And further down the order, Andrew Musgrave, 23rd last year, 22nd this year. It's all about making progress bit by bit. Not as much progress as Musgrave would have liked, but he still put in some fantastic performances. He got on the podium in Toblach. He got a 7th place in the skiathlon in the Olympic Games. So great things still to come from Andrew Musgrave. I'm absolutely certain of that. Well, let's just catch up on what else is to come. Nordic combined Gundersen, that's going to be in 45 minutes or so. The cross-country phase of that competition, the ski jumping had to be called off, so they go with the provisional ski jumping results, and that jumping competition took place on Friday, so it will be Akito Watabe who is the first to start in that race. Well, that's all from the cross-country World Cup season. Appropriate to have a picture of today's winner, winning the mini tour here in Falun, Alexander Bolshanov of Russia. He gets 2 very important victories in the closing stages. That surely will be motivation enough to push him on throughout the summer months. He'll come back fitter, faster, stronger, and a real threat to Johannes Klæbo, who is this year's champion.